All right, let's just think about this for a second. What if you could build an entire software application, not by grinding out thousands of lines of code yourself, but just by talking to an AI? That's the incredible possibility we are diving into today.
But, that immediately brings up the big question. It's the one every developer is probably thinking right now. Can an AI agent really build a full, complex application from scratch?
And the short answer is, yeah, it can. But, and this is a huge but, as we're about to see, getting from that simple yes to a real working production-ready application, well, it gets complicated fast.
Okay, so let's get right into it. Section 1, the problem with prompts. This is really where that amazing promise of AI coding kind of hits a wall.
First up, we've got a new term for you. The source material for this explainer calls it cloding. And it's the perfect word for what we're talking about, the act of coding collaboratively with an AI agent, like Anthropic's Claude Code.
And look, the scale we're talking about here is just mind-blowing. These AI agents, they aren't just for whipping up small functions or little scripts. No, they can generate entire projects with tens of thousands, sometimes even hundreds of thousands of lines of code. It's an absolutely massive leap forward.
But here's the catch, right? As the project gets bigger and more complex, the source material points out that prompts alone create confusion. You can't just chat your way to a stable, maintainable application. It just doesn't work like that. So what does that confusion actually look like? Well, it really boils down to three big problems. First, you've got lost context. The AI's memory is short. It just forgets crucial details you told it earlier. Then there's no traceability. You're staring at a piece of code and have absolutely no idea why the AI wrote it that way. And finally, all of this just leads to scattered work. Your logic, your files, they're spread out across dozens of different, disconnected threads. It's a total mess, kind of like managed chaos.
In this slide, it just lays out the core analogy perfectly. Think about it. On the left, just prompting an AI is all about short-term memory, and it leads to chaos. But on the right, that's how we manage an actual human developer, with structure, with backlogs, with user stories. You would never manage a pro by just randomly talking at them all day, right? So why on earth would we expect that to work for a super powerful AI agent?
So that's the problem, and that's exactly where the solution comes into play. Let's get to Section 2 and see how we can fix this mess. Introducing Puffin.
So what is Puffin? At its core, it's a graphical user interface, a GUI for the Claude Code tool. But what makes it so special isn't what it is, but what it does. Its whole mission is to treat the AI not like some simple chatbot, but like a real professional developer on your team. That's a huge shift in thinking.
And that mission, it's all built on a really clear philosophy. Puffin gives you a structured hierarchical view of all the AI's tasks. It makes sure every single piece of code can be traced right back to a specific requirement or a user story. It's all about enabling active collaboration, not just passive prompting. Basically, it's building a real foundation for structured human-AI teamwork.
Okay, so that's the big idea, the philosophy. But how does it actually work day to day? Let's jump into Section 3 and look at the engine that drives the whole thing, the backlog-driven workflow. This is really the heart and soul of Puffin.
Now, this whole idea of a backlog-driven workflow, it's the real game changer here. So instead of that endless, messy chat history, your big ideas get broken down into a formal, prioritized queue of tasks for the AI. And this should sound really familiar because it's exactly how professional software teams have been working for decades.
And here's how that workflow breaks down into 4 simple steps. First, you use your prompts to generate structured user stories. Then, step 2, those stories live in the backlog. That's your clear, prioritized queue of work. Next, you pull just one story into a focused implementation thread. This gives the AI the exact context it needs without all the noise. And finally, you mark it complete, which builds this perfect, traceable history of what was done and why it was done.
And this comparison just makes the benefits crystal clear. It's night and day. The old way, just scattered prompts, you've got zero traceability and you're constantly losing context. But the Puffin way, you get full traceability, focused context for every single task, and one single source of truth in that shared backlog. The difference in clarity and control is just huge.
All right, so what are the actual tools that make all of this possible? Let's look under the hood in Section 4, Key Tools for Clouders.
And wow, the toolset here is seriously comprehensive. We're talking full user story management from start to finish. There's deep Git integration so you can manage branches and commit right from the app. There's even a visual GUI designer to help you plan your layouts. Plus, you get real-time tracking to see exactly what files the AI is touching, a living architecture document that you and the AI can evolve together, and branched conversations to keep all your different prompts, UI, backend, whatever, totally separate and organized. It's basically a command center for collaborating with an AI.
And by the way, just to show you that Puffin isn't some toy, it's a real substantial application itself, here's what it's actually built with. It's an Electron app, made with pretty standard stuff, JavaScript, CSS, and HTML. So, a serious tool built with a really robust, common web tech stack.
So, all of this brings us to our final and maybe most important section, the future of collaboration. Let's zoom out a little and think about what a tool like Puffin means for the bigger picture of how we build software.
Because what we're looking at here, it's really more than just a tool. It's a whole new methodology. It gives us a peek into a future where the developer's role starts to shift, away from being a line-by-line coder and more towards being a high-level architect and supervisor who guides an AI partner to bring their vision to life.
So what's the bottom line? It's simple, really. By bringing these professional, time-tested software development processes to AI, Puffin helps you get to production way faster. It creates code that's actually maintainable, and it gives you complete traceability for everything that AI builds for you. And that leaves us with one final big question to think about. Are we just building with AI, using it like another tool in the toolbox? Or, with new ways of working like this, are we finally starting to truly collaborate with it, like a real partner? Puffin makes a pretty compelling case that true collaboration isn't just possible, it's the future.